So we're having the topic of the moon. That's where you're getting the term moods from, and also music or music. You spell it with two O's or a U. Music, psych, the mind. That's where you're getting our musicals from, to dance and sing, dancing. And you have different moods, many moons. You have red moon, so-called blood moon, which is interesting because it's the same color as red bricks. A cinnabar, Cina moon, which is equaling 777 in gematria. And the color of cinnamon or cinnamon is having the same color as cinnabar or red bricks as well. And you have honeymoon, which is honey colored. You have wolf moon, all these different types of moons, and which are measured, and timing is measured in months. And it's a syncope, which is an emission of a letter or sound from a turn, Monday to moon day. So you're having the Hey Diddle Diddle song, and this you see in the picture in the right hand side. It's a chocolate milk cow, and cows go moo. So it's getting the term moon, the cow jumping over the moon. And this is a melody. So hey melody, shout out to one of the subscribers. It's a play on words for milady, melody. I know some people say malady, but that goes into the term mage as well, and madge and latte, like melody, but music. So the cow jumping over the moon. It looks like a honeymoon in the photo, and it's music. So the term for brick in Hebrew or Hebraic, you take the H off the term Hebrew, you get Eber, Hebraic, and it's translating as Levana or Lebana. It's the same term for moon, as you can see here. So the Hebraic term for moon is the same for brick. Lebana, like levitating. So you can see here that term is equaling 33 in the Hebrew ordinal cipher in gematria, which is Greek for geometry. And you can visit this website and look into your results, compare them to different things. You see here red brick equals 33 in the keypad cipher, which is very significant. Interesting, it's called keypad, and blue brick and 33 in the septenary cipher, which is very significant because sept is referring to the number 7, which is another very significant number in addition to 33 and other numbers as well, but very significant. So we have energy, source energy, and this website is beating with the term source, which is interesting. And so energy is involved with bricks, and you have cinnabar. The relationship between here is our brick cinnabar. It says here, it's a clue. It's a bright red to, it's a scarlet to brick red. I said bright red, but brick red. And it's interesting because bricks can light up under certain conditions. They have piezoelectricity. You can see that with the crystals. But you have the term red mercury because cinnabar is a source of mercury and other metals. Bricks are as well. Metabolism, metals. And mercury is very significant. It's liquid, most of the time in its state. And this is a brick that I was sending to one of mi amigas, and in the meltology community, which meltology is the study of melted structures in our realm, because our realm is made of red bricks for the most part, and concrete and other structures, analogous structures. We'll get into the term analogous, or Ano or Luna. But shout out to you, Diana. And Diana's going to the term moon as well. So you can see at the bottom right, you have the term dead. And that's actually translating as complete as well. So whenever someone's using that expression, I'm dead, it's like it's a completion of an expression. It's like I'm complete. And it's interesting if you look at the synonyms of that. It's one definition of the moon or breakdown with synonyms, and one of them is including lounge, which is very significant. And lungs, as we're getting the term luna, and our term for our lungs in Latin is pulmonis, or which we get the term pulmonary or pulmonary, which is very significant. Sea lung, lunge. When you lunge something, you're submerging it into water, wattage. And we are breathing water. It's mostly water vapor. It's ether, electricity, wattage. And it is a type of liquid. And tick, an act of tickling someone, a lunatic. When you're a lunatic, it's the root word for tickle. So a tick is a type of, insect or a beetle. Bee, that's one of those many bee terms. And it's because when you feel insects crawling on you, it tickles, and that's one of those things, are built-in mechanisms to avoid these situations. So term azul, this is blue corn flour that I have, and corn in Espanol is translating as maíz. And so azul is because luna rearranged is anal, and that's where we get the term analogy, analyzing, anal eyes, and azul, like asshole, like azul, so like a blue asshole. And shout out to the researchers that point this out, 777 Treat, regardless of the standing that we all may be. We all have our unique relationships. So this is the bottom photo of the moon, architecture, and the top is a photo of a component from building structure, which is very analogous and comparative. And we'll see some other examples of architecture. This is where you would say we are on this plane here, and it's the same type of architecture. You'll find this all over the moon and here, which is showing that there's a relationship between the type of architecture and us in here, including us, our vessels. And you can see this is another example. So these are examples of pockets of survival, especially this one, because mountains are damaged buildings from the event. There was an event that occurred, and some structures were surviving, and there's zero evidence against it. And this area of study is called meltology, and geology is debunked. But you'll find this, even the narrative of volcanoes is debunked, because nothing is what they have told us is accurate at all. And we can see from experience teaching what's really going on and what's occurring. Oculus means to see. So to see, and which is interesting because a crescent moon, crescent starts with a C, letter C, and sea, as in the sea, the water, and to sea, navigation. So, and the moon crescent can look like a sail. So the reason I'm having the term daily is because the term moon day or day moon is literally day of the day. And the reason I'm having Sunday is because the gematria results are going to match up with the term moon day. As you can see, they're both equaling 33 in at least 4 ciphers. And when you have 30, that's technically accurately 33 as well when you break it down. So the thing is, moon day rearranges day moon, and day moon translates as daily. And as you can see here, you just rearrange it, but it's the same letters involved. But in Greek, which we're speaking Greek, you have the alpha, beta, our alphabet. Literally, we are speaking Greek. And it's translating as day of the day or daily. But yet we're measured in months, and you can see here, this is very significant with the number 33, because even 330 in the Latin cipher or Jewish cipher, or in what it was referred to before, our present day, or what we're being given. And as you can see here, 77 is another significant number. And these numbers that are highlighted are just parameters to get pointed out, to see things that stand out, and numbers that are numerals that are significant. Mooney, So when you're seeing MON, it's really moon, like Munch's moon key, moon arch key, moon arc key, sequence 33. So this is an example of a translation of the term day moon, which is translating as day of day or daily or day of the day. And really, whenever we're saying 360 days, even 360 with a circle, the complete rotation would be another rotation, which would be 720 degrees. So 72 is an important number, 720, because days and nights, in night is a type of day, so so it's technically that is the same. So the term day moon's fitting in. So you can pause any of these photos, going through. These are from Bruce Sees All channel, and there will be statements and certain things that may be different than what experience shows or research, yet there's a lot of great nuggets involved, as he's using a 14-inch telescope according to his narrative. And you can see there's architecture here involved with the moon. There's many aspects of the moon, moony aspects of the moon, and many things that are observable. The architecture, different aspects you can see here. Look at this architecture here, and a lot of activity, a lot of colors, very suggestive vegetation, and they're more powerful telescopes than 14-inch. And the reason how observatories are only allowing owing access, to certain parameters, even especially to the public, because you can really see things well. So you can pause at any time, go back. These are photos of the ocean floor, and specifically some of these are going to be off the coast of Malibu, California. But if you can see the parameters in these screenshots, but what we're being allowed to see is that these are flood waters, and beneath them there's architecture, just as above the flood waters, so what we would call land. But water is involved with everything. There's irrigation systems. This is showing architecture on the moon and greenery on what we're calling the moon. It's very important to be aware of these things as we're wanting to know more, and even comprehending more about ourselves as well. And you can see here, this is from the Bruce Sees All channel, and there's other photographic evidence and telescopic. And it's interesting that Celestron is one of the brands. Because Cele, we're going to get into that term, is referring to the moon. A selenographer, so a person who studies the moon. And navigate, including that breakdown. You can always go back just to see that. I know it's flashing, but navigate is movement. It's referring to water, like navel, navi, like avatar, aravos. So xylem is a system, and you can see here systema, but also psi is in the mind. Xylem is a type of system, and you can see, as you're going to see, that the translator is recognizing whenever you expel terms and different parameters, showing you that, as this example, psi stem, or mind. This is a psi stem, and things are well named, and there's a structure, there's a geometry, a gematria to everything. The cell is like the term referring to the moon. So celestial is literally referring to the moon. And you get the term sail from it, like moony. You're sailing something to obtain moony. And even mini moons, like coins, silver coins and gold coins, look like honeymoons and silver moons. The many moods of the moons. We have the element selenium, cell. And you also get the term sol because the interchangeability of vowels. And and also Ser or Sire, and it's where you're getting the family of animals, so-called animals or anima, spirits, animated, animated, mate, made. This is selenite, which the narrative of how this forms, there's a few different parameters involved with that. So this is going to be footage from this channel as the time of this recording, and you can always make this go slower, and you can watch as there's light background dialogue, yet the moon might be far away, but you can see it sailing. One of the titles in here was including the term sailor moon. You see sail, see phonetics, and you can see here there's many footages you can obtain yourself, observe, look up, and there's many aspects that we can learn more about ourselves, including what we're calling the moon, and our environment. Bears to see in Espanol. So, using the term veri, veri, and versi, verses, verses. And again, the moon's a little small, but you can observe what's occurring in the footage. Mirrors. Mirar means to look in Espanol. So there's many types of mirrors, including reality, which is ality is alliance. So these are manatees, and they all have different tails according to which branch that they're part of. Some have tails that look just like dolphins' tails, and whales, other things, and they look like mermaids, and sirens, the sirenia. So serene, they're serene, serenity. They're so serene. You can find these online if you want to relax and get into a serene state. You can watch this. And this is very significant to this topic because cell, the L, it goes into the term cell, like the L and the it's the switch with the letters, and it basically goes into cell,
UFO.
the L
It
and the
still
R
could be
switch.
something
And
lifting
usually they'll
smoke
have
on the surface. And
meaning
hello,
translation.
it's riding along the
This
dark
is some
edge,
footage from
just like it's
Brucey's
hiding.
All channel.
So all these captures
And
happened to me. I'm lucky as hell to get all these captures. One of my favorites are this one. I have several objects, those just arriving to the channel. Thanks for taking the time to subscribe. This is real UFO research on the moon, top secret, classified. Definitely, the military is not going to let that come out. Structuring on the surface. It's not pixelation. Go see the videos that I explain pixelation, or do it yourself. 4 lines with another line crossing over. If it's not a Dyson,
are 40, 50, 60 kilometers. So, hey, what's saying that they are not transportation to get to, area from area to area? 50, 60 kilometers is a long distance. It's from here to, on the other side of Montreal. I mean, if we were to get there in a supersonic way, like they just did, traveling at Mach 1, I think, or I don't know how fast they're going in the loop. Look at this, changing the subject, under the haze, right? We see that there is a cloud, right? I showed this in 2018. Look underneath the haze, we see stationary lights, and not just one, 3 stationary bright lights that appear, and also the cloud gets really thick when those lights illuminate. So what could when you see those on the surface, shadows or not, right? Just sharing what I see. No
There
two
are
ways
larger
about it. This
telescopes than a
channel has
14-inch
shown
telescope.
many UFOs under
He's an
clouds
enhancer.
on the surface of the moon. What are some of the changes that we're going to see? We have also Russia talking about going to Venus and actually sending a man or woman, right, astronaut to the surface of the moon. Check this UFO out, right in the surface, in footage a couple of weeks back. The light is roaming over top of the surface. It seems very, very close to the surface. But again, you see the billowing light illuminating, not being able to show us the object itself. What do you think of this bridge-like object going to a large structure when you see those on the surface? Shadows or not, right? Just sharing what I see. No two ways about it. This channel has shown many UFOs under clouds on the surface of the moon. What are some of the changes that we're going to see? We have also Russia talking about going to Venus and actually sending a man or woman, right, astronaut
Some of
to
this
the
footage
surface
may
of the
be
moon.
repeating yet.
Check
It's
this
worth
UFO out, right in the
seeing
surface,
to
in footage a couple of weeks
communicate.
back. The light is roaming over top of the surface. It seems very, very close to the surface. But again, you see the billowing light illuminating, not being able to show us the
And you can visit his
object
channel. It's
itself.
called Bruce
What do you
Sees
think
All.
of this
See a lot
bridge-like
more,
object
much of his footage
going
and
to a
research
large
and,
structure or anomaly,
and you do your own
lights
due diligence
on
as
the
well.
surface of the moon? And what are those lights?
Research.
And this, don't tell me that it's not something coming out of the end of something dark that we can't see. You literally see the flame coming out. Oh, we're going to see it in reverse. This is nothing. Look at it. Watch it reappear. It's actually pretty incredible. No filter here, by the way. Exposure taken right down. This was a fire that appeared in the image on the moon, and it was in the darkness, actually. Look at this one, eh? Is it a storm going by? Because it's a cloud over the surface. That is definite.
You can always question
Probably
certain
even the
narratives,
shadow
you know,
underneath.
and
Look at
you
this
can
thing.
find things throughout our own
It's incredible.
observations.
And again, it's like an elongated sort of cloud-like object, or just cloud going by.
Cloud-like
But
comparison. So yeah, these are still shots, and among many. And there's an inversion technique and different enhancers, and it's very great footage because a lot of this can be seen through different types of binoculars, even very great phones now, cameras, and different telescopes. So you can observe a lot of these things in activity, and especially the color along the rim of the moon. There's so many things, and the moon wobbles. So about it facing one side, there are other aspects. There's many other aspects that's going on and occurring with what we're calling the moon. And it seems to be well named because of how it's coinciding with us. And you have the term Lemuria. You know, again, our musicals, music, and which is our muscles. You add an I to music, psych, the mind, for dance and sing. So,
Can't even see most of the objects, but the objects are there. Slow it down. The whole surface is filled with objects, and the only reason why we see them, it's the edges that I cut that are white. If not, we would not see them. I put some metallic objects on the surface too, and even the metallic objects are not reflective because the surface is dark, thus hiding the surface. This is a very basic way, but a real way of explaining the manipulation that's going on the moon. Both refractive white and reflective surfaces, and also dark surfaces. On the dark surfaces, they can construct dark objects and go unnoticed. They can build in the shadows, or even build dark platformed surfaces that look like shadows. To eliminate the structures from being seen, they could also have lights on the surface, different angles and directions, that are actually hiding shadows from the large towering objects on the moon. I just showed it to you right here, zooming up. Look, there's a tower in the center there. You can see there's real objects there And, is that ejecta from lava? No, it's refraction from the light, my flashlight that I'm pointing on it to deliberately make it refract. But it still looks a lot like what we're seeing on the moon. Here, quite simply, on the dark surface, metallic objects and buildings and structures that are out of metal will refract, like you're seeing right here, which I'm not in the moon, by the way. It's an earring. Quite simply, a metallic, or in silver. I also have silver on the board here to see the refraction. And of course, it just literally looks like the moon. When UFOs light up, they show me the objects on the surface like you're seeing right here, just because of reflection from the surface when a bright light is close to the surface. So basically, shadows, they are formed when light hits an opaque object, a non-transparent object. Like you're opaque, right? Your body is opaque, so remember that, which is why the sunlight cannot go through you to reach the ground. So absorption is when the light is completely taken in by an object and doesn't pass through or bounce off, like we're seeing right here. This is the process that occurs in opaque objects. Dark objects absorb light, right? If you want to go outside on a hot sunny day, don't wear a black shirt. That's a known fact. So there's not a lot of reflection. I was able to get some reflection by deliberately manipulating this surface here to try to show you, but in reality the dark surface is like that. The flashlight, see, it's only showing the side edges of the dark objects I cut because it's white plastic, and you can see the metallic objects right there. But when I put too much in the video,
So we're having Rahu and Ketu. Now this is mythology, but when you flip the M to a W, you have your wit. So a lot of times these personifications, they do coincide with things here with our vessels, yet the Rahu and Ketu is an observable phenomenon with what we may call eclipses. Now the term eclipse is going to the term trump, which means to cover. It also could mean to deceive, yet it just means to cover, because deceive can mean like a decept. Sept is referring to head, and number 7 is reading the term deception, yet a covering, an obscuring. And this is my footage of the eclipse. Which the Rahu and Ketu is referring to north nodes and south nodes and lunar nodes. That's something to look into. I'm having here the first English dictionary of 1604, which is far from the first English dictionary yet, by Robert Caldry, which is the other title of this is the Table Alphabetical. And this is a fictional character, Robert Caldry, and by the University of Oxford. And for the definition of eclipse is a failing of the light of the sun or moon. And that's kind of how it feels, the energy from it is absent. So the official narrative of what actually creates these. So I was getting reminded, and today is actually the 77 days, the 14th. 7 plus 7 is 14. So the 7th day, so that would be 777. So a malfunction of the sun, something occurred, an event happened to where we find where we are today. So what is happening now is a result of all that's come before. So it's all happening now. Now I'm feeling the energy coming back right now. Feeling the light of the sun and moon. So this eclipse right now. And as I'm seeing this on the screen, this is actually BB, Bumblebee. Somebody was pointing out Babylon Brotherhood, but I mean, you can create an endless amount of phrases with the BB, which is would be like a 33 as well. Like if you put the capital, but this is reading without music. Life would be flat. Someone was gifting me this, a student, a marching band student, and also a operator or person with Special Olympics at the time. This was back in the earlier 2000s or 2000s. Uh, but yeah, and this is during the eclipse, and the light is still. Oh wow, I actually see it. I'm not sure if it's gonna come up on the camera actually, but I just saw it. I can see it right when I look up. It's actually being covered up. I saw it like the sphere. So that's giving an insight to what's the sun, the soon, and why is that occurring, since we're knowing the narrative is a little different. And we're having some flowers going with the flow here. I can feel the difference in the sun, and I see it right when I immediately look up. I can actually see it, see the covering. So what actually is covering the sun? There's actually something with the moon, Rahu and Ketu. There's something to be looking into, and it's a similar experience with the moon. I can see it right now. So the sun is actually ultraviolet in color, but it's the entire spectrum. But ultraviolet being the highest, and you can see it because when you buy ultraviolet or bulbs, there'll be this color, or there'll be a combination of these neon colors. But one of the highlights would be this ultraviolet rim that it has. But otherwise, it would be this. Some would say pink, but it's, wow. I see it. The actual circle going over the sun is ultraviolet, and our eyelashes are actually allowing us to look directly at the sun. You know, people have different sensitivities. Uh, wow, this is actually neat. So yeah, something definitely is covering the sun up from the right to the left, from the east to the west of the sphere. It's quite interesting. It's like creating like an arch shape. It's very fascinating because the sun's not even an entire sphere right now. It's similar to how we would see the moon in the sky, and there's this circle in the bottom right, and it's lit up. So it's very fascinating with the definition of the dictionary, of English dictionary, first English dictionary of 1604, where it's stating that an eclipse is a malfunctioning of the moon and the sun. So the Rahu and Ketu narrative, that's something is fascinating. But yes, I remember Jared Camp was doing presentations on that topic. Then they're telling people to never look up. Wow, it's pretty. All right, have a great day, everyone.